Okay.
Okay.
All
right.
Okay, good evening. This is how I usually get the response from adults. I also go to often kindergarten, elementary school, different places. And if I usually do "Ohayo gozaimasu," then children usually yell back. It is, unfortunately, adults, we get,
We don't know what to do.
but yes, Japanese language, I made it easy for you tonight. So you don't have to all get stressed out at the end of the day to go home that you can't sleep because your attention is so high. So I named it Learn Japanese in 60 Minutes, and I probably should make that into 20 minutes. So it's not too bad. I would like this session to be fun. I like this session to be something that when you leave, it's like, oh my gosh, I can say 2, 3 things that made me feel good. And then when you actually go to that spot, I hope your mouth is wide open. So just for that reason, I also have a handout that I can give it to you, so you can put it under your pillow. When you wake up the day before you meet these people. Thank you for inviting me. My name is Jun Kawabe. I teach at Ohio Wesleyan. It's been about 10 years teaching at Ohio Wesleyan. When I came to Ohio Wesleyan, there were 2 Japanese classes. Now we are full loaded. We have 3 levels of Japanese. We have a regular exchange student come from Japan, and then we do send our students to Japan, 3 to 4 students a year. For many, many years, we had nobody went to Japan. So we are very exciting age right now. And then we added Chinese recent years, and our department is considering, under the budget restraining that we have, we still would like to expand it to Korean language. But East Asian, as a little city like Delaware, I would like, East Asian, the Asian people, come on, move in, more Chinese restaurants, Japanese restaurants. Korean restaurants not here yet, so we're all here. Before I start, I promise you, I will not overburden you, but I'd like every single one of you to have a few phrases to take home. And today is only October 12th. And then you won't meet these guys another
3 weeks.
3 weeks. Yeah, 2 a little bit more. So hopefully you will remember. One of the things I'm actually an adjunct faculty at Ohio Wesleyan. Side business I do is consulting culture and language at Honda. Major client that I have is I coordinate the language program at Honda for Japanese and English. And then also I go to a few other Japanese corporation, that businesses in Dublin, the Marysville area. So I'm very aware of how to work with, I should say, older young people, 30s and 40s, and some are 50s. And I want to, before I actually start, I should have prepared well, but I wanted to share with you that I actually went to Sakata not too long ago, 2011, with a student of Ohio Wesleyan. And I made a little slideshow back then when we invite ourselves to be part of every year's exchange cultural experience that Delaware students have, to show what we, college students, also benefited with Sakata. And so this is a group of students. We went to Sakata to visit through traveling course. In case you haven't checked the map, be honest, Japan, I know Tokyo, and now I know Sakata. So here it is. This is Tokyo.
The pointer hasn't caught up with the technology of the screen.
Here's Tokyo, and then here's Sakata. And the people who know Tokyo, you can imagine Sakata should be like this, but it's not, because it's an island nation, which means inside in here, it's like a rock in the water. It's all mountain. So you cannot go this way. It's better, it's faster for those who are planning to go to Sakata in the near future to fly. And in flying, it takes about 2 hours, is what I heard. But you actually have to ride a train all around here and all along here. It took us 4 hours to get there, and using bullet train. And I'm from Kyushu down here. I'm a southern girl in a warm, sunny beach. Going to Sakata was my first experience. And let's see. Okay, and then. Okay, this is my impression of Sakata. Very rural area. It really relates to Delaware. Very agricultural land. People are so down to earth. Very few foreigners, Westerners. If you walk down as a group, everybody turn their head and say, "Oh wow, what are these? Aliens?"
Okashi
Okashi. I'm not gonna go through, but we did a lot of school visits. And we experienced school lunch assembly. It was so interesting. Our students went through the school lunch assembly. So please request that if you ever go to, or when you go to Sakata, to receive assembly lunch, because it's very different culturally. And I hope you will invite me again before you go, so I'll prepare you well. And then we went to middle school. We went to Sakata officials meet, and then school club showed us a dance and drumming experience. They even gave us a homestay experience for a couple of days. A wonderful, wonderful experience. And ramen, you think ramen noodle is 40 cents when you go out at the college? You don't have the money in your pocket. But ramen is so gourmet in Japan. So good. So please don't think it's one of those 40 cents. It's rather more like a $6, which is still good. Very good. Geisha. Have you heard geisha?
Yes.
Okay, it's a traditional memoirs of geisha, right? It's in a movie for a while. This one, very nice. Anyway, there's a traditional dance and singer and then musician. Traditionally trained woman geisha. We don't have many left anymore. We have one in Kyoto. No, we have a group in Kyoto, and Sakata is the second city in the whole in Japan. The real geisha exists. So this is again, I hope you get to meet geisha when you go there. Historical house, we like Sakata warehouse, very famous place. When Japanese people hear Sakata, this is a warehouse. That's the impression, image we have. And then here is the drumming we did with the students, and more. And there's the big group dance that we learn how to dance. This is the lookout, the highest point in the city that we can see. This is the warehouse, the whole warehouse along the streets. I don't know how many of you went to Sakata, that one street. Oh, good. Okay, so these pictures are not boring then.
No.
Okay. It's a beautiful place, and their symbol of the city is this dragon head. And they carry this is the actual side. They carry this to walk down the street of the city for the festival time, in summertime. So you probably get to take a picture in front of, this is in front of the city hall. So you probably go there as well. Very nice, we have very special time there. Okay, so here's the ramen restaurant. It's important, that's why I took a picture. The seating like about 6 only. It's a mom and pop restaurant. And then the city official told us, it was a walking distance from the city hall, and the city official who took care of us said, actually there is a fancy place, but this is the best place if you don't mind little, clump and small and then tight, kind of dirty. He didn't mean dirty, but it's just old. And we prefer this one, so choose this type because it tastes so good. Here's the real geisha. And 2 girls in the middle. The Japanese garden, and this is the CEO of Nagao-san. That he left the position and now become Abe-san, Rika, that has taken his position today. So Michelle, you've been talking with Rika. Yeah, and she would have been our person that taking care of it. But Nagao-san, no longer in that position. And then we had a post-family. We met individually, and they took our students individually to 5 homestay family for over the weekend. And they took us to this craft house that we sit around and learn how to sew. and most of our students didn't know how to sew, but we had a very good time. This is the outside of the city, beautiful mountain. And this is the Sato sensei, who used to be a English teacher, no, social study teacher in middle school. He was the very first group who took students to Delaware through Gary DeCocker, who connected us together. And he retired now, but he's no longer with the city. They're a fisher town, so you will see a lot of fishing industry. And you will see a sunset over Sea of Japan. Here, you see a sunset over Pacific Ocean. But in Japan, Sea of Japan, so to do that. And then over there, it's China. Okay, so this was it. Thank you very much. And then,
I have a question.
yes, please.
What's the climate there now? Or whether they have-
It's very comparable to here. And there are 4 seasons, and snow accumulation is high, much more than here. The Sea of Japan side, they have maybe a meter, about this much tall. So it's more like New England, Maine. The accumulation is very much higher. So don't go in winter.
Yeah.
Please choose a good timing to go. Oh shoot. Okay. Oh shoot. That's not. Sorry. Okay, so this is what I wanted to see. Okay. Any question? No? Okay. So I'm a language advocate, so I have to say just a little bit, if you let me say it. Languages are great to avoid aging, brain-wise. Everybody puts so much time and effort on making them good, stretching the ankle, wrinkles, and changing the forehead to dark color and covering your forehead or whatever. But we need to work on youth inside of our brain. Language keeps you young. Language helps you not forgetting very quickly. Alzheimer's disease, will kick in a little bit later if you keep working on memorizing new things and experiencing new things. Japanese plays 6. Well, getting there, right? Chinese are pushing us a little, but we're still there, very steady, healthily growing. Spanish, of course, and French, and then American Sign Language, third, believe it or not. I never really seen many people go to American Sign Language. And then German and Italian. Then comes Japanese and Chinese. After that, Arabic. That was way down. Now it's coming up because of a lot of political reasons. Okay, so Japanese, a lot of people think, oh my gosh, that's so hard. It's not so much of a hard or difficult, it's just that much different. So it takes time to get to, the Spanish is much more closer to English language, so it's, faster, that's all. The earlier the better, never too late. Old, please start. The oldest person that I had was 80 years old, came to my office and may I audit your class in the college classroom? And I said, well, yes, until you get tired. And he had all this 2-3 hours of tutor right before he come to class, and he would take. But he took about a month or so, and then I told him that he should probably take it easy and then rest because the speed was just too much. But again, you can change the speed. And then right now in Columbus area, there's no Delaware area that you can take Japanese language as a hobby. But if you go to the Dublin area, JASCO, the Japanese Society of Central Ohio, offers adult language classes in the evening, 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock. So if you want to come, it's once a week, 1 hour, just drive down there 20 minutes, drive back. It's fun class, everybody relax, no midterm exam, no quiz, and then you come home and you speak to your children and you look really good because your children, wow, Dad, you're so cool, what's that? Okay, anyways, oh, mom, sorry. Mom's always really good, right? So, okay, language is open door to people, fun, and then I talked about it, aging. Okay, first of all, I want to do the first thing. This is everybody use at the beginning of the business. You come in to this door, everybody's here in the chamber, and then this is what they say. Ohayo gozaimasu. Ohayo gozaimasu. So first of all, you've heard people say Ohio is Japanese word, right? Because a lot of times I say, oh, I'm Japanese. Oh, I know Japanese. Ohio. And then it's really wrong, actually. If you say Ohio, people think that you're crazy accented, strong accent in Japanese. So you don't want to do that. You want to say Ohio, 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 Ohio. Can you say that?
Ohio.
Ohio. And then you put the N. Gozaimasu. Ohio gozaimasu. One other thing I want to do is to I don't want you to look at this actually. How do I turn this off? Don't look. Why? Because your eye, your input of those OHAYOO, GOZA, I so long, Jim. I don't want you to. I want you to just take it. Just by ear input. Ohayo gozaimasu. Ohayo gozaimasu. Ohayo gozaimasu. You got it twice. That's okay. Ohayo gozaimasu. Ohayo gozaimasu. You want to get the flow. Because if you say it with a really long, wrong accent, really takes so long, they don't hear it as a good morning. Sort of like a really strong accented foreigner come in and speak English to you. It's like, oh my gosh, I want to help this person, but I don't know what she's saying. And then that's many times it's because they write down, they try to say it, and they can't face their accent. So they try to say it and they want to do the best they can, but actually they're doing it all wrong. And then don't worry about taking down the notes because I have handouts, so don't worry. No problem. And this is your recording. So you get to see me again, maybe, I don't know, my voice at least, a loud voice. Ohayo gozaimasu. That it's like a nice karaoke. Ohayo gozaimasu. Ohayo gozaimasu. Ohayo gozaimasu. Ohayo gozaimasu. And then, in fact, when you go to Japan, this is how you hear it. Yes. That's what all the Japanese businessmen say. I go train lots of engineers, and we're getting ready to send to Japan. And so they walk into the main hall of Honda in Japan, the main office. And then they hear, oh, I'm ready to say Ohayo gozaimasu. Shun taught me how to say it. So Ohayo gozaimasu, and then everybody else, and then they bow and then they walk like this. And then there's none of those people say Ohayo gozaimasu. Why? Because it's not Ohayo gozaimasu. It's the shortened version, Oz, but also Ohayo gozaimasu, Oz, and then they say so much that it becomes like Oz. It's not Z, OSU. It's Zus. But for you, probably it's more polite to say Ohayo gozaimasu. Ohayo gozaimasu. Okay, very good. Ohayo gozaimasu. Don't worry, I'll come back to this. Okay, bowing is also very, very important. Here, you would make eye contact. You would use your hands. Sometimes you smile. It's very important when you meet somebody. Smile, make eye contact, shake hands, show the body, right? Show body language. Make a body contact by hands. But no, Japanese people, they don't want hand contact. They don't want necessarily eye. They don't want smile either. It's so different, right? What do you have to do? Bow. And then you know what? American people are so bad at bowing. Because you are told, growing up, you are taught not to do it this way. Why? Because this means you're rounding your shoulder and make yourself small. That means untrustworthy. He's not capable of doing this. Kind of impressing you people. And then also, you're not, first of all, you don't act like a dude if you look that nice. You're nerdy, right? And then a woman too, they go, oh, you're very small. So actually, that's what you want to do. That's what Japanese people want to do, which is to be humble. Being humble shows humbleness. So, ohayo gozaimasu, bowing. And then yoroshiku onegai shimasu is what the second phrase I'm going to show. And also, I'll show you the magic word afterwards. So, yeah, you can have a wrinkle right now. But yoroshiku onegaishimasu. This is nice to meet you. Glad to see you. And I'm happy to work with you from now on. That's what it means. So, if you have the most important things, June, I just want to know 3 things. I'll say ohayo gozaimasu. Because first of it means good morning. But also when you see somebody for the first time, it's all work related. Even if it's at 11 o'clock, you say ohayo gozaimasu. It means like a opening of a work day. If you work in the second shift, you walk into the office at 2 o'clock, you say ohayo gozaimasu. Walk in at 6 o'clock in the evening, ohayo gozaimasu. It means good start of the day. So that's how it means. And of course, you can be literal, and make it say, oh, actually, konnichiwa, isn't it? And then you oh, wow, you don't know only ohayo gozaimasu, but konnichiwa, which means good afternoon. We'll do that as well. But yoroshiku onegaishimasu is the second one. Why? Because you, as a working professional, you want to make a good impression. You want them to trust you. And this is the magic, this is the word that it's long, but you want to tolerate it and you want to say, yoroshiku onegaishimasu. You want to give a very good impression to superintendent from Sakata. Then of course you want to say, yoroshiku onegaishimasu. Yoroshiku onegaishimasu.
Could you bring it down a little bit?
Anyway, I'll come back to it.
Okay.
I'll come back to it. Yoroshiku onegaishimasu. Again, I'm coming back to you. It is the attitude that's most important. It is yoroshiku onegaishimasu. Yoroshiku onegaishimasu. You say it quite a few times and we'll practice it, but try to fake it. If you fake really good, that's how I want to do it. Yoroshiku onegaishimasu. Yoroshiku onegaishimasu. Yoroshiku onegaishimasu. If I slow it down, it doesn't sound like it. So I will say it over and over. Yoroshiku onegaishimasu. Yoroshiku onegaishimasu. Yoroshiku onegaishimasu. Yoroshiku onegaishimasu. Yoroshiku onegaishimasu. We'll come back to it. And then you have the ballet. Actually,
No.
when you bow, can you bow? Oh, very nice. Everybody can bow. But when you bow, well, one of the first things you don't want to do is, this means I'm not taking my eyes off. I have to watch you. And in samurai culture, the samurai translation of this is, I don't trust you. I see your hands in your pocket. You're going to take out your sword or what? And that's what it means. So you want to take your eyes off and look at your toes 3 seconds. Then back. Oh, that was a long okay, but the longer, the politer. So meeting Japanese Prime Minister doesn't mean you have to sneak your knees and you're falling down out of your politeness. No, you bow and then you look down maybe 5 seconds and then up instead of 2 or 3 seconds.
June, can I ask you one question? So, do you give the greeting before you bow or while you're bowing?
Ohayo gozaimasu.
Ohayo gozaimasu.
That's right. So you say it at the same time. Ohayo gozaimasu.
Ohayo gozaimasu.
Yes.
What do you do with your hands? You're doing
Oh, very good.
I'm doing great.
The guy, the sun. Not in the air, in the sun. Woman, you can do the side or the front. And then the guy who are in service industry, like hotel managers and so forth, they always have their hands in the front. This is highest politeness, kind of down here. And then a woman, I expected to be more polite, so their hands usually here. You get more, I'm not talking about man versus woman, just the women are more expected to, talk. Right? So hands here. Well, guys over here. The bad thing, the worst thing is if your hands in the pocket. Or, scratching. so put your hand on the side, and then as you bow, you can just keep it there, or you can bring it to the front. And many American people actually can't stand with the toes together. And when you bow, if you have your hand legs over the top, it just doesn't look good. You know, after all this practice, you want to look good. So I want you to close and then bow. As soon as you lift your head, yeah, open it. That's okay. As long as you're not bowing. As you bow, you close. And then open.
Okay.
Bow, close, and then you can open it. Bow. And then let's try. Ohayou gozaimasu. Very good. See, when everybody say Ohayou gozaimasu, you know, you're not singled out. It's good. So you just chime in. Just make noises. That's good. Just say something. And then, よろしくお願いします。よろしくお願いします。One more time. よろしくお願いします。Good, very good. So, ending is like, おはようございます。お願いします。So the ending, just make sure mask is at the end. Context provides what you're saying. Really. They're not really listening every single sound. They don't really care. If the context provides that it's a time for reading, and then it's a time everybody meeting for the person saying the name, よろしくお願いします. You say, mas. Then they understand. They really do what you're trying to say. So, okay, very good. So one more bow. Very good. Very good. And then, you know, if you take more time, instead of going like this, take your time like this, it's more classy. Yeah. You want to make a good impression. You show confidence. Make sure you're not, you know, puff up chest. You know, this is not good. Remember, round your. And then he's like, June, I just forgot everything. Then bow. This bow. You don't want to make eye contact because you don't want them talking to you. Then bow. And they will like you. They really will. But many of them, they say, oh my gosh, I forgot what to say. Oh, sorry, I forgot. You know, start saying English. That brings a barrier, right? So rather, just smile.
Mas.
And then in Japanese, hi means yes. Hi means yes. Hi. And that's good. It makes you look at least cute.
How often do they bow? Because what I see was look, they bow for everything.
They bow a lot.
A lot.
So these two guys are bowing right now.
Yes.
Right? And then when you meet, we'll do this in a minute. Everybody, please do prepare to bring your business card.
Yes.
There's no excuse you run out. I'm not even teaching you that phrase to apologize for not in a survival session. But anyway, you bring your business card and then you give, and then you bow at the same time. When you receive, you bow and then receive. And then when you yoroshiku onegai shimasu and about, you lift your head, and then the other guy's head is down, and they go, oh my gosh, and then you put down. Because whoever lifts your head first is the superior. Which means if you lift your head first, then you might not be being humble. Does that make sense?
Yes.
So you want them to quit first, right? But then they never quit. That's why you see people going like, and they even goodbye, sayonara, okay, and then they go, but then they also bowing. And then that's how they build the relationship, bowing. It's not high or no hug, no kisses on the cheek. It's just bowing. It's so easy, but somehow this is hard for American people. Okay, just one thing that's okay, we'll make it stand. Okay, this is the magic word in the short, cut and short. Simasen, simasen,
Simasen.
simasen,
Simasen.
simasen, simasen,
Simasen.
My son, I have 3 children, and the youngest is son. I failed to educate my son with Japanese language growing up. And he, you know, I have a girl son. You know what happens to the last child who is a boy, the first boy. They're usually very spoiled. And usually don't discipline and all the sister. So when I had to take him to Japan, I was really worried because he won't be able to speak in Japanese. And then he won't, he has a rude mannerism. You know, high school, freshman year, middle school, when I took him. for a long period of time. So I taught him, I want you to do a good balance and sumimasen. And sure enough, hi, sumimasen. That's all I told him. I told him not to speak anything else, just hi, sumimasen the whole time. So the grandma comes, oh, you're Baka. Hi, sumimasen. He was saying, he's very polite. And then he's seated. And they said, he goes, oh, are you hungry? Hi, sumimasen. Meaning, yes, please, thank you. I received your offering. And then, oh, okay. And then he's fed. And then he was done taking care and then cleared the table. Are you done? Hi, sumimasen. I'm sorry, thank you very much. So everything is hi, sumimasen. And then my attitude boy would start playing games because he thought it was cool. Everybody said, wow, he's very polite. And then he said, hi, sumimasen, everyone. He goes, hee, mom. And then somehow he was making it into a joke, but he really portrayed himself very polite. So this is a magic word I discovered. After teaching 20 years, I never knew if there is any shortest word that you have to know to survive and still have Japanese people like you is hi, sumimasen. Because, excuse me, I'm sorry, I thank you. These are all humble expressions, right? And then you don't have anything like this in English. Thank you is thank you. I'm sorry is I'm sorry. Excuse me is excuse me. We got one. That takes care of everything. Great, right? So if you think, oh, I might be being rude to these other people, and then you're forgiven. Always have to that. Also, this is what I noticed. My son, I didn't do a good job as mom, so he started saying, hi, sumimasen, and it's good. He stopped bowing, and then it wasn't good. Not many people said he was polite. It's the bowing that counts. If you forget sumimasen, just bow. It's better than saying sumimasen, no good. Just bow, and then sumimasen. Or just bow. Can we practice sumimasen? Sumimasen. Notice I'm not really saying M and M. Sumimasen. Blending it in. Sumimasen. So when you're actually seeing it and trying to say it, I hope sumimasen, you're doing it wrong. Sumimasen. So drop one M. Sumimasen. Drop the first one. Sumimasen. Sumimasen. I'm going to go on. Sumimasen. 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 Good.
He didn't bow.
Sumimasen. Sumimasen. Make sure you bow. Sumimasen.
I just want to say. Oh, okay.
Sumimasen.
Okay, spell it. Sumimasen.
Sumimasen.
Sumimasen. Sumimasen. So sumimasen, wing it. Okay. So if you don't know what it is, just say sumimasen. That's okay. Oh, perfect. They will never know that you're not saying this. Susan, that's it. Susan, that's it. Okay, believe me, it works. Okay, so this is the phrase. If you want to do really good looking for meeting somebody for the first time, this is it. Sorry, Jackie, I used you. Hajimemashite, meaning I'm meeting you for the first time. Hajimemashite, in English, hello. So long, Jim, so long, I know his age though. And then, Deraoyashi means city. Deraoyashi, Jackie desu. If you forget this, it's okay. Deraoya Jackie desu. Make sure you have desu at the end. I'm not really saying you at the end. Desu. Deraoyashi no Jackie desu. So everybody say Deraoyashi. You're all from the city of Delaware. And then you put your first name, it's okay. Can you practice saying your own version? Delaware. So would you like to say yours?
Delaware Shi no Tom Dis.
Very good.
She knows.
よろしくお願いします。Here you go, it's the long one. よろしくお願いします。どうぞ。よろしくお願いします。よろしくお願いします。よろしくお願いします。よろしくお願いします。よろしく。よろしくお願いします。If you anything at all, June, I want this to be cut short. Okay. Forget the first one. I don't really care the first one. Hello is no needed because you already have Ohayou gozaimasu to cover. Okay? And then even if you don't have Ohayou gozaimasu, that's okay. Other people already said it. It's your turn. You just have to say your day, right? So you say, Deraishi no Caroline desu. That's how you would say. And Kent? Deraishi no Kento desu. Actually, your name is your name Ken or
Yes.
Kent?
Kent.
T at the end?
Yes.
Okay, so Kento will be your name.
Kento.
Kento-san, Chris-san is okay, Lisa-san, okay, George-san, Caroline-san, okay, Tom-san, okay, Joe-san, very easy, Andrew-san, Andrew, Jackie-san, Elaine-san, Elaine-san. Dean-san, Dean-san.
Kento.
I like it.
Anybody has a long name? I want John to say it. Maybe. Okay. Okay. So just say your first name is okay. The last name is too complicated.
Yes.
So just go by first name. When you call their name, they might tell you to call their first name because they go through this. What you're going through.
Right.
People call by first name. So they might be taught to do that, but they're most comfortable by the family name. And then use san. Yes. So my last name is Kawabe. So Kawabe-san. Kawabe-san. But we'll practice there how to call their name as well in a little bit. Okay, so let's try again. Let's skip this one, okay?
Yes.
Let's skip that. Let's do the name and よろしくお願いします。よろしくお願いします。よろしくお願いします。その、whenever you bow, よろます。よろます。
Yeah, as soon as.
よろしくお願いします。よろしくお願いします。Okay. You always bow. Each one you bow. 出直しの順です。よろしくお願いします。Okay, so I want you to look at each other. Two person.
Okay.
As soon as.
Right. So Delaware Shi no
Pretty good.
Tom Dis.
Christmas.
They're all, you're gonna come here and go, you're gonna come here and go like this.
One of the things that you would have is when you meet some of the delegates, they might be walking in when you're in the meeting or the room that you're waiting, and then as soon as they take out their business card, it's automatic you stand up. Because that means this is coming up. So, do you have a business card with you today?
Well, how many times do you give them the same cards? What I want to know.
Each one is one.
Just once.
Okay, just one.
Each day or just
No,
once?
just once.
Well,
One business
there
card.
are business cards, I know that much.
Yeah, I'll talk about that. Yeah, but I don't wanna. So business card is always in your hand. No excuse, no habit. If you don't have it, then make one. Don't think that your credit card is. So you have your business card, hold for them. So they can read. Hold the edge. Don't give it to them like this. Don't go. Hold both ends and take it out as you go. So, try to, yeah, if you have a, I don't know, driver's license, whatever, just take it out so you practice. Just a meeting of it. Take it out. Pretty common. So you say, oh, I have it. Actually, you say your name. You go back, de la voy a si Jackie Guess. And take it out, take it out. De la voy a si your name.
No, Tom, this.
So when do we exchange?
When you receive, you want to receive with both hands. So I'm going to borrow Jackie to come here to make her to give it to her. And so I have a and I remember, I always get confidence. So when you receive,
Okay.
you would bow and receive. See how she's holding? This is how she should be holding. So she can use both hands.
Oh, how you do it.
Okay.
She already. And then, and then when you receive the look for a couple of seconds, it's all in Japanese. I don't think it's all in Japanese, actually in English, but you want to give it to you. So look, and if you want to practice it, then you can do like this. Ah, Jackie-san! And then you put
So you
down
make
on
sure
here.
yours upside down.
Does that make sense?
Okay.
So then, can you watch us sometimes? Watch us? Okay. How did that? How did you do?
Oh, you take out.
Ah, Jackie-san.
I was gonna do that.
よろしくお願いします。Okay, can you do it with your hand?
Oh, okay, okay. So we gotta put it right side.
I can't do that. All I can say
This second. The unit sign. Even the logos, sign.
Yeah, I got
the reason that I didn't want to give it to you is so that your eyes are not glued to it, so you hear my voice. Thank you.
Is that right?
So I gave you so many lists, so you can check to see which one we did today. Okay, later on. I just wanted to give you a bunch of it just in case, but I try to carefully choose. Am I okay with that? Should I just right there, you can sit down. I'm happy to come back and work with somebody. Some of you, if they're part-time or lunchtime.
Okay,
Like
that would be great. Thank you.
Okay, so most important thing is the body language. Don't be intimidated by language. Because Japanese people, American culture, the American people are very focused on verbal expression. If you are not eloquent, you can't express yourself accurately to communicate with others, you do in this culture. But in Japan, less the better. So you try to execute, it's like a Zen culture. You try to execute as little as possible to communicate. So not speaking much, not speaking correctly is not their virtue. It is the attitude, it is the presentation of yourself with body language. So don't be intimidated. If you're not speaking, that's good. That's good. So I gave you some of these phrases. I had some situation practice. You see the superintendent, Mr. Murakami, walking into the office in the morning. You say, "Ohayo gozaimasu." You will always say it with what?
Wow.
Bowing. And then you always have to look at your feet if they're together or not, right?
Right.
Because I want you to look really cool, right? Not dorky. Okay. You're with the group, you want to tell a message to Mr. Hori, the Vice Chairman of City Council. Hori-san is another person. The superintendent is Murakami-san. Can we say this? Murakami-san. Murakami-san. You have his name listed in the itinerary that I got from Michelle. So, Murakami-san.
Murakami-san.
Hori-san.
Hori-san.
You put the san after that to address to the person. You want to get his attention. Magic word? Sumimasen.
Sumimasen.
Excuse me, sumimasen. Someone brought you a cup of coffee in the office.
Sumimasen.
Sumimasen. That's great, right?
Where is it here?
Okay. You are asked to give the meeting agenda to Matsuda Sensei, or professor. There's one professor in the group. Matsuda Sensei, you gotta put sensei for all the teachers. But not Sensei Matsuda, no. Switch them. Matsuda Sensei.
Matsuda Sensei. Matsuda Sensei.
Matsuda Sensei. You want to give a document to him. It's in your handout. It says dozo, dozo, dozo. So you're serving guests, or you're serving the paper, passing it around. Dozo, open the door, the Japanese person comes, oh, dozo. That's what she said. Dozo, can you say this? Dozo.
Dozo.
What do you do as you say dozo?
Dozo.
Here's basic two. You're meeting Mr. Yoshikawa, Vice Chairman, Chamber of Commerce. He's also coming. Yoshikawa-san, can we say this? Yoshikawa-san. Yoshikawa-san. Yoshikawa-san.
Yoshikawa-san.
Most likely, you never have to say it. In the United States, when you say, "Hi, Mike," it's important to say that, Mike, so that I will let you know I know your name, right? Right. In Japan, no one said anybody's name. So this is good. So long, right? But at least when you receive a business card, and always when you receive it, always look. And then if you can, say their name. Ah, Yoshikawa-san. Then that gives a good impression.
Yoshikawa-san.
So Yoshikawa-san, that's the only time you ever say. Even goodbye, you never have to say anything. Just, one of those guys that dark hair guy. Fat one, little one. That's how we Japanese people say it. Abe-san is only one woman, I believe. No other woman. Okay, Rika-san. Her last name is Abe-san. I would call her Abe-san. But obviously, some of you are already corresponding with Rika, that you might be calling her Rika. To go lunch together. Lunchtime, you can look in the sheet. Konnichiwa. 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 Can we say this? Konnichiwa.
Konnichiwa.
What do you say? What do you do when you say it?
Konnichiwa.
Just try to think it's a game. Who gets to bow more often? Japanese or me? And maybe you were always good, actually, sorry. The problem you're having is now resolved because Matsuda Sensei helped you. You say, sumimasen. There is a word, arigatou gozaimasu. That is thank you very much. I cut that today because we need 3 important words, not other ones. And the meeting is now over. Tell each other, delegate, see you soon. I won't see you for a long time. Sayonara. Sayonara. That means I will not see you long time. So don't say it tonight when you see him tomorrow. Okay? And then you know this is the last time I'm seeing you until 2 years later when I come visit Sakata, then you can say appropriately, sayonara. Sayonara. Some of you might know sayonara.
Sayonara.
But the pronunciation is sayonara.
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 Okay. I'd like to take a few minutes to take any of the questions, and I'm going to talk to Jackie. If any of you are interested in follow-up exercise on this, maybe I'll find another time to go over. If you got intrigued and got excited about doing some of this as a part of your mental exercise, I would love it. And I'll try to make it fun. Always 3 words each class. Okay. Today's class first word is Ohayou gozaimasu. What's that mean?
Ohayou gozaimasu.
Thank you.
Yoroshiku onegai shimasu, the hardest one. Can you say this?
Yoroshiku onegai shimasu.
And then the magic word?
Say son.
See? I kept it short. 3. Any questions?
Could you go over the business card etiquette again?
Okay. Oh, I forgot to mention. Once you make sure you have a business card always at hand.
Is there any etiquette with who presents the business card first?
Whoever presents, you are being more humble.
Okay,
So you compete.
I see.
So they're taking it up. Quickly take it out and then take it out. So many times theirs are out by the time yours are out. So you try to meet them as well. Don't think you're bothering them when they start saying it. No, take it out. You're not bothering them. You're
Okay.
being humble.
Okay,
And then let them say it as your hand is already out.
and then, so you,
You
you're supposed to,
almost switch at the same time.
I see, okay,
Mhm.
okay,
So because you're competing. And then keep bowing. And then until they stop, and I say, oh gosh, I'm done.
okay.
And then many times there's 3 or 4 swarming around and they might be passing each other. That's okay.
And then I
Just
know
follow
that you don't put the business card away immediately,
Right.
but
So if
how long do
if
you?
you're sitting at the table,
Right.
and then I have 4 people who gave me a card, then I have a Jackie's here, I have Andrews over
I see.
here, and I have a Joe's over here, and then leave it on the table like this. So as I address my question, okay, I have this one for Tom. Tom-san, 今日は何時ですかね? Something like this. And then translate it myself, like whatever.
Say my son.
Just apologize and say thank you.
So if you're
Keep
standing,
it out on the table.
but if you're standing in the meeting, it's the first time you
So-
have a table.
Right.
Unless if you meet someone at
So
an
if
airport.
you-
for example.
Right.
If you're meeting at the, outside, and then you collected all this, don't put it away. Wait until they put it away and then you put it away. Putting it away means I'm done with you sometime. So if you quickly put it in your pocket, no good. If you have a Meiji holder, that's good. If not, then wallet is okay. Don't put it in your pocket, like as is. Put it in something else.
Okay.
Purse or something. All right. Any other question?
The etiquette on gifts. Gifts. I mean, we have some gifts that we're going to present to the delegation.
Sure.
We're going to do that is that something that, how does that, what's the
There's
etiquette
no
on that?
specific way. You just say, here is the gift, and then it's okay. There's no, I don't really have, I think whatever etiquette you have is appropriate.
Okay.
And then many times the gift is also presented at the end too, rather
Okay.
than at the beginning.
Okay.
of the visit.
Okay.
And yes,
Is it possible that our Japanese friends will come here and try to use our customs with
Yes,
us? And
of course.
So what should we do?
so when you turn to the, oh, June told us, so I'm gonna bow and I'm not gonna hug and shake. They might be taught. Oh, when you see American person, go up and shake hands. So their hands are out when you're bowing. It's like, oh my gosh, so what am I supposed to do? So a lot of times you're shaking and bowing at the same time.
Okay.
This happens very frequently.
Improvise.
Improvise. Just because you are, Western look. If you are one of the Japanese, it will never happen.
Okay, so follow their lead.
Follow their lead, and in case you want to shake hand, and no matter how much you say, yoroshiku onegaishimasu, they might say, nice to meet you. They ignore things, but they don't mean ignore. They try their best, what they're told to do. So do both. Mixed is good.
Okay,
Yeah.
Do
thank you.
we know what the level of English proficiency is of the people that are visiting, or will it mostly be through a translator?
Yes.
Yeah, they probably taught as much as you taught today.
Okay.
But they done high school English class. So if you took Spanish, hola,
Yep.
muy bien.
Yeah.
Right? So they know a few words. So they do have that.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? Comment?
Thank you
Yes.
so
So-
much.
Oh, you're
Yeah,
welcome.
very
That was
helpful.
very fun. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Pinto. And they want to know which stars.
I love it. Yes.
Hearts.
That's the secret.
You don't need a shoes. That's gonna go basically through lunch.
Yeah, that would be.
I used to find that cool, dude. I'll come up next week. I did. I may have to, may have to do some like that. Hey, are you going on tomorrow? Since Jess is real crazy busy and stuff, so just know we get my binder together for arbitration. Yeah, Thursday? What about next week? No, this Thursday, because she's still off Wednesday to next Wednesday. Okay, cool.
We haven't, I don't know, we've heard this a lot. The picture is, showing places and things. So much in a frame, there's been show time. Yeah, Didn't she say that was more for?
Yeah, I think so. I think you had it. I think you had it. Make it.
Most respect. Yeah, I think that did. Right there. In the womb. Go there.
No, I'm free. First day outside anything. I had a brace on yesterday. So I tried walking around. I can't run or anything. It's an ongoing process, but they said I'm doing really well. I'll tell you, I'm a big, huge believer in So, do we have anyone? Oh, why didn't we get it? You what? Why didn't we get it?
The time is 7 o'clock, and I will call to order City Council meeting for October 12th, 2015 in council chambers. Roll call, please.
Mr. Jones.
Here.
Mrs. Keller.
Here.
Mr. DeGenova.
Here.
Mr. Brush.
Here.
Mr. Schaefer.
Here.
Vice Mayor Hellinger.
Here.
Mayor Riggle.
Here. And for those of you who came in late tonight, we're having 5 delegates come in from Sakata, Japan. So we were getting a little lesson tonight as to how to interact with these folks. So we got a little taste of what we're going to go through. Number 2 on the agenda is the invocation. And tonight it will be given by Pastor Marty Deal, and it will be followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. So if you'll all please stand. You'll come up here to the microphone, Marty.
Let us all bow our heads. God of all creation, we come before you to welcome you to this meeting. We give you respect and acknowledgement, you as our creator and provider. It is you who is omnipresent. You are everywhere, Lord. It is you who is omnipotent. You have all power. It is you that is omniscient. You know everything. God, as we begin this meeting, we ask that you will guide our thoughts and our actions so that we may have a successful meeting today. Help us to accomplish our goals while displaying your character. We pray these things in your mighty name. And everyone said, amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much, Pastor Bill. Item 4 on the agenda is the approval of motion summary of council work session held September 12th, 2015, and the approval of the motion summary for the regular meeting of council held September 28th, 2015, as recorded and transcribed.
I move for approval.
Second.
I have a motion by Mrs. Keller, a second by Mr. Schaefer. Roll call, please.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mrs. Keller?
Yes.
Mr. DeGenova?
Yes.
Mr. Brush?
Abstain.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hellinger?
Yes.
Mayor Riggle?
Yes. Item 5 is the consent agenda. If Elaine will please read this into the record.
Item A, acceptance of the motion summary for the Historic Preservation Commission meeting held July 29th, 2015. Item B, acceptance of the motion summaries for the Civil Service Commission board meeting held August 5th and September 2nd, 2015. Item C, acceptance of the motion summary for the Planning Commission meeting held September 2nd, 2015.
I move to accept the consent agenda.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Brush, a second by Mr. DeGenova. Roll call, please.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mrs. Keller?
Yes.
Mr. DeGenova?
Yes.
Mr. Brush?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hellinger?
Yes.
Mayor Riggle?
Yes, motion carries. Item 6 is letters, petitions, or public comments. This is the time set aside for anything that is not agenda. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to come forward at this time? All right, seeing none, we'll move on to committee reports. And we'll start with first one, Mr. Jones.
Nothing this time, Mayor.
Mrs. Keller?
Nothing, thank you.
Mr. DeGenova?
Our BZA meeting is canceled this week, and we'll have one in November.
Okay. Mr. Brush?
Nothing tonight.
Mr. Schaefer?
Nothing, thank you.
Mr. Allen?
Airport Commission meets Thursday at 7 o'clock.
Okay. And we do have a sister city meeting tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. Okay. And at this time, 8 is a presentation for Domtar. Is there a representative here? All right. If you'll meet me down front here. Good evening. I have a proclamation I'd like to read to you. Whereas the City of Delaware has a responsibility to recognize occasions of outstanding significance, and whereas Domtar Personal Care is devoted to the ideas of local, national, and international service. Whereas on September 28, 2015, so it's 190 employees could contribute to the betterment of our community. Whereas on that day, Domtar employees rolled up their sleeves to give their time, energy, and talents to make our city an even better place to live. Whereas Domtar employees focused their efforts on Oak Grove Cemetery, painting fence, removing brush, raking, weeding, and straightening headstones. Whereas this volunteer spirit and civic commitment greatly benefits the City of Delaware by saving the city public expenditures for these projects and services. Whereas Domtar's senior management, led by Frederick Shanks, warehouse and transportation manager, should be lauded for the successful implementation of the Domtar Service Day. Now therefore I, Carolyn K. Riggle, the Mayor of the City of Delaware, do hereby issue this proclamation to honor Domtar Personal Care in the City of Delaware, and I am joined by my fellow citizens to recognize this company's commitment to our city. Thank you so much. Give an extra pat from Dan, who couldn't be here tonight. Would you like to say anything?
You're welcome. No, it was something that it's just in our culture. We call it the fiber of Domtar. And so one of the things that our corporate wanted us to do is we wanted to go out to the communities and once a quarter try to do something to give back. So we wanted to shut down our facility. We paid all of our employees. And I thought of Dan. We go to the Y a lot. And we were coming up with what kind of activities could we do where we could use all 190 or 200 of our folks to actually help. And so when they told us about the seminary, we were more than happy to help.
Well, thank you again for your service.
No problem. Thank you.
Thank you. And item 9 is the fifth reading of the resolution of 15-45. The clerk will please read this into the record.
Resolution number 15-45, a resolution adopting the 2016 through 2020 5-year capital improvement program.
This is ready for council's adoption, and I guess we just want to remind, we said this during our work session last week, this is the plan, this is not the appropriation. The appropriation will come to you as part of the 2016 budget. So to the extent that we have to make any adjustments between now and the adoption of the budget, we can do that. So, but we would recommend your adoption of the plan as presented.
What is the wish of council on 15-45?
Move for the approval of resolution 15-45.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Schaefer, a second by Mr. Brush. Roll call, please.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mrs. Keller?
Yes.
Mr. DeGenova?
Yes.
Mr. Brush?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hellinger?
Yes.
Mayor Riggle?
Yes. And item 10 is consideration of ordinance 15-102. The clerk will please read this into the record.
Ordinance number 15-102, an ordinance establishing a new agency fund and supplementing the 2015 appropriations ordinance.
Mr. Stelzer?
Yes, this legislation is related to the recently created JED out of 3671. We need to create a new fund. It's called an agency fund. It's to segregate it from our other income tax monies to the city. So when that money's collected, it'll actually be put in a separate fund. And then the appropriation is necessary to actually distribute those funds, a portion of which will come back to the city, and then we'll put it into our general fund or wherever. And then we have to issue checks to the JED authority and then to Berkshire Township. We've done, as I think the legislation indicates, the tax went into effect July 1st. We haven't collected anything from anybody just yet. We're doing our dangest to try to track down the contractors working out there, but it's a bit of a challenge. But yet before the end of the year, we do anticipate getting some tax proceeds. So this legislation will enable me to issue those funds. There's no real rush on it, so we can go to second reading if you'd like.
Did we talk about earmarking this money to help with either the point or the connection between?
I think there've been some things talked about, but that this doesn't have, won't do that. That's
We'd have to take separate
something.
action to establish a fund where the appropriation goes. That was the recommendation all along, was the 3637 core
Right.
fund.
If I have to distribute the funds, which I may before ultimately we decide what, like I said, I'd put it back in the general fund because we can do whatever with general fund money. If I put it into a different fund, then we may be limited as far as the uses of the fund. So it's kind of holding it until we decide if it's targeted to what and what not.
Okay.
So it's kind of housekeeping, but if you want to, it really needs to occur. It doesn't have to occur this meeting, but I don't think
Is there any real reason
there's really no reason not to.
I move we suspend the rules on 15-102.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. DeGenova, a second by Mr. Schaefer. Roll call, please.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mrs. Keller?
Yes.
Mr. DeGenova?
Yes.
Mr. Brush?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hellinger?
Yes.
Mayor Riggle?
Yes.
I move for the approval of 15-102 as submitted.
Second.
Motion by Mr. DeGenova. Roll call, please.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mrs. Keller?
Yes.
Mr. DeGenova?
Yes.
Mr. Brush?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hellinger?
Yes.
Mayor Riggle?
Yes, motion carries. And item 11 is consideration of ordinance number 15-103. If Elaine will please read this in the record.
Ordinance number 15-103, an ordinance supplementing the 2015 appropriations ordinance to establish additional funding for building maintenance expenses and declaring an emergency. Emergency clause, that this ordinance is hereby declared to be an emergency measure necessary to provide for the public peace, safety, health, and welfare of the city, and to properly maintain facilities through the end of the year, and as such will be in full force and effect immediately upon its passage.
Thank you. Mr. Farina?
Thank you, Madam Mayor, members of council. The ordinance before you, I put a lot of background information here to keep it really simple. We put a small amount of money within the building maintenance fund to take care of unanticipated expenses. This year we had a significant number of them. I tried to detail the type of expenses we've had and how we usually manage those. And when these are not elective projects, these are clogged plumbing, broken water pipes, broken sprinkler systems. One of the most significant ones I identified, I think you're aware of the incident we had over at Justice Center where a detainee set off the sprinkler system and caused a significant amount of damage. We had to respond to that immediately, obviously, with repairs, with cleanup, and there's still some damage to be cleaned up regarding that. But most of these, we hire professional service contractors right away to come in and do cleanup or repair to plumbing, or repair to fixtures, repair to HVA systems to keep the buildings operable. So I've got the summary in here of where most of the expenses are. I have far more detailed information if you want to see more detail or have questions specifically on these. We need to move forward with our end of the year fourth quarter purchase orders for our normal services, and we need approval of this in order to have the funds available to finish our normal services through the rest of the year, our building maintenance, preventative maintenance, custodial services, and things like that. We don't have to approve this tonight. We could wait 2 weeks if you feel so inclined, and I can answer any questions regarding this.
I have a question that's probably for Darren. In this sort of circumstance, with the incident at the Justice Center, do we have any plans to pursue restitution?
Oh, of the,
Not that,
I mean, obviously we're pursuing
any of
it.
the money, but
Yeah, I mean, I think Jackie's actually given them the paperwork, haven't you, Jackie?
Yeah, whenever we have something like that, if someone had charges filed on them, I send everything over to the prosecutor's office, and then they make that part of his hearing, so.
okay.
That said, I wouldn't count on getting
I'm
more
getting
than
it back.
25 bucks.
Sure.
Yeah, that I got.
Sure. Okay, well, I move that we suspend the rules requiring 3 readings of ordinance 15-103.
Second.
I have a motion by Mr. Brush, a second by Mr. DeGenova. Roll call, please.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mrs. Keller?
Yes.
Mr. DeGenova?
Yes.
Mr. Brush?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hellinger?
Yes.
Mayor Riggle?
Yes.
I move to enact the emergency clause.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Brush, second by Mr. DeGenova. Roll call, please.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mrs. Keller?
Yes.
Mr. DeGenova?
Yes.
Mr. Brush?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hellinger?
Yes.
Mayor Riggle?
Yes.
I move to enact ordinance 15-103.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Brush, second by Mr. DeGenova. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mrs. Keller?
Yes.
Mr. DeGenova?
Yes.
Mr. Brush?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hellinger?
Yes.
Mayor Riggle?
Yes. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Thank you. And item 12 is consideration of ordinance 15-104. If Elaine will please read this into the record.
Ordinance number 15-104, an ordinance authorizing the city manager to enter into a renewal agreement for the Law Enforcement Support Office program.
Good evening, Mr. Pujanowski.
Good evening, Madam Mayor, members of council. This is the agreement that has been before this council before that allows the city manager to sign our agreement for another year. This is the program that allows us to receive free retired equipment from the federal government, specifically the Department of Defense. Along with the agreement, I have also attached our inventory. That's our current inventory that has everything that we've acquired that's required to be inventoried for the past, I think, 12 years is on that list. So you can see what we're using the program for, and also so you could give us any direction if you so choose.
Any comments for Chief?
I move we suspend the rules requiring 3 readings on 15104.
Second. I have a motion by Mr. DeGenova and a second by Mrs. Keller. Roll call, please.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mrs. Keller?
Yes.
Mr. DeGenova?
Yes.
Mr. Brush?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hellinger?
Yes.
Mayor Riggle?
Yes.
Move for the adoption of 15104 as submitted.
Second?
I have a motion by Mr. DeGenova, a second by Mrs. Keller. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mrs. Keller?
Yes.
Mr. DeGenova?
Yes.
Mr. Brush?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hellinger?
Yes.
Mayor Riggle?
Yes, motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
And item 13 is consideration of ordinance 15-105.
Ordinance number 15-105. An ordinance approving a final subdivision plat for the estates at Browmiller, Section 6, consisting of 26 single-family lots on 8.38 acres zoned R2, one-family residential district with text limitations and located on Willow Grove Drive and Tree Line Way.
Thank you. Mr. Eflin?
Madam Mayor, members of council, this is for the final section, a final subdivision plat for the final section of estates at Browmiller. This one being known as Section 6. It is for 26 single-family lots of the 176-lot subdivision. This is located approximately between Glen Road and Browmiller Road, as you all know at this point, being the last section of this subdivision. It is zoned R2 with text limitations. Those text limitations are primarily concerning some additional design requirements that were negotiated at the time this was originally zoned and captured in your staff report in the previous sections. Aerial photograph should we need it. As you can see, it's fairly tabletop farmland at this time. And one note for you, along Glen Road in previous sections, we've designed in some additional mounding and buffering. There's a little landscape setback as well, anticipating a much busier Glen Road should it all go all the way through ultimately to 3637. And so that would be continued with this last final section of the subdivision as well. The density is within the subdivision as approved already and lower actually than the comprehensive plan calls for, as you know. The lot sizes are in excess of the minimum requirements, and there are additional design requirements that I mentioned earlier. Your Planning Commission did vote unanimously to recommend approval of this section. I'm happy to answer any questions that you might have.
How many conditions are on it, Dave, any, if any?
We have 8 conditions on it this evening.
How many developers are here?
Yes.
Did anyone have any questions for staff for Dave? Good evening.
Good evening, members of council, Madam Mayor. My name's Kurt Zisler. I'm with Hockaday and Associates. We're the engineers preparing the plans, and be happy to answer any questions you may have.
I need an address.
883 North Cassidy Avenue.
Thank you.
I just have the one. Are you aware of all the 8 conditions and are aware of working with staff and making sure that those are fulfilled?
Yeah, yes, we are.
Did you have anything you want to add to Dave's wonderful presentation tonight?
That's a tough one to pick up on. Like you mentioned, this is the last section, so this will be closing out. I think it's been probably over 10 years, but the last few sections have gone quicker. So,
okay. Madam Mayor? Sir, I was wondering if you were able to speak with the developer regarding some of the concerns that were brought up by Planning Commission member Prawl regarding the park area?
I was. The questions in there were for the, there's a central park in that area. Some of the questions dealt with landscaping, tree planting inside the park area. I did pass that on to them, that there were questions, or they just would like to discuss it. I don't really have an answer though, as far as, they haven't came to me and said, yes, we'll agree to that, but it was brought to their attention the next day.
Okay, thank you.
We're talking the central park we're talking about is the existing park?
Yes, there was as you can see here, this is approved preliminary plat, and right in the middle, there's approximately a 3.5 acre park. It is an HOA maintained park, and as part of previous sections, it was negotiated with the developer to put in a pathway and a piece of play equipment in that park. That park also serves, unfortunately from a park perspective, but fortunately from a stormwater management perspective, it serves as a stormwater course as well, basically right through the middle of the park, so it's challenging to program. But what we wanted to do is leave open field space in addition to getting a piece of play equipment and the bike path connection through the park as well. What Planning Commission discussed really more informally is if we could, the applicant and staff, and we have not had a chance yet, Ms. Keller, to go back to the developer, but we'll do that as I promised, some additional programming within the park.
Okay.
At this point, being the last section, it will, within the next several years, the HOA will be in control of itself and not essentially the developer in control of the HOA. And so the folks that live out here will, of course, be able to make lots of decisions in addition to whether they would like some more programming out into this park for themselves or less programming.
Thanks. Thanks, Dave.
Just the wish of council. 15-105.
I move to suspend the rules requiring 3 readings on ordinance 15-105.
Second.
I have a motion by Mrs. Keller, a second by Mr. Jones. Roll call, please.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mrs. Keller?
Yes.
Mr. DeGenova?
Yes.
Mr. Brush?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hellinger?
Yes.
Mayor Riggle?
Yes.
I move for approval of ordinance number 15-105.
Second.
Motion by Mrs. Keller, second by Mr. Jones. Any further discussion? Roll call, please.
Mr. Jones?
Yes.
Mrs. Keller?
Yes.
Mr. DeGenova?
Yes.
Mr. Brush?
Yes.
Mr. Schaefer?
Yes.
Vice Mayor Hellinger?
Yes.
Mayor Riggle?
Yes. Motion carries. Good luck. And item 14 is consideration of ordinance 15-106. Lane, if you'll please read this into the record.
Ordinance number 15-106, an ordinance approving a preliminary development plan for Speedway for an approximate 4,608 square foot gas station and convenience store on approximately 12.912 acres located on the northwest corner of US 23 North and Hills Miller Road on property zoned B4 General Business District.
Thank you. Mr. Eflin?
Madam Mayor, members of council, this is the first reading of this case. As I've discussed with the manager and the applicant, we would present this at your next meeting in October with a full presentation by us as staff and the applicant. And then at your pleasure with respect to public comment.
Okay. I love you staring at me now. I realize a lot of you are here tonight to speak. And being that it's a short meeting, I guess I'm going to let some of you come forward and speak. I'd hope that you would not repeat yourselves. If one person says that, I don't need to hear the same thing from the next person. I did sit on the Planning Commission meeting, and I did watch the second one. So if there's somebody who's here that would like to speak on this, raise your hand and come forward to the microphone, give your name and address.
Huey Long, 615 Stratford Road, Delaware. I've tried to stay abreast of the whole Speedway project. I've attended the Planning Commission, and of the major things that people have sought answers to, it was traffic, then how it would disturb the present residential area that abuts that project. And I'm assuming between ODOT and the city and Speedway, they've come to a, as best they can, solution to the traffic. And not being an expert, I can't criticize that. I still think it will exacerbate the present problem we have now. The one thing that has not been addressed and has not been answered satisfactorily from Speedway for me is how are we going to manage the residential areas to the west and the south? You're going to have trucks that come in there at night. You know what a truck sounds like. And either from the north or from the south, they got to make a 360 to either get to the pumps or exit the pumps. They're going to shine their headlights the entire west property lines and to the south to the Hills Miller. It's going to be a constant airport rotation every night there. Now, I know these people will never attend Red, White, and Boom again because they're going to get a sight and sound show every night if they like it or not. And the answer that I've gotten, unless I'm up to speed, is they're offering just to have vegetation, trees to block this noise and light. That's not going to work. You need a sound wall there. Is there some physical reason that we can't put a sound wall in to protect the existing property and the ones that we developed to the west? I don't know of any.
Okay. Just so you understand, we're here to hear your comments,
Sure.
not necessarily answer back, but we will write stuff down, and then when we go through the general, or the full-blown one in 2 weeks.
Well, I think that's the only thing that hasn't been answered, or there's not been any offer by Speedway, and I don't know why Planning Commission hasn't suggested it. They seem to be receptive to trees and bushes. That doesn't work. These people are going to be there from now on. They're going to have to face that every night, and I don't believe that's taking care of the surrounding properties and being a good neighbor.
Okay. All right, thank you,
Thanks.
Mr. Long. Is there someone else? Yes, Mr. Gill?
Bruce Gill, 261 Kensington Drive, Delaware, ho. Mayor, the only thing I'd like to say is the email I sent today to you, to Tom, Lisa Keller, Chris, I would like you to reproduce that and allow everyone to read that, if you don't mind. That has basically what I wanted to say.
Okay.
And that way, then everyone would have it
Okay.
ahead of time to take a look at. I did make a mistake. I saw it on my way home. Got interrupted and I let it go, and that was down here concerning the project would add only that lighting, traffic problems and things, but I think it's pretty well self-explanatory. And that's all I request, so that we can make a presentation on the next time if need be.
Okay, thank you. I will do that.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm. I didn't get it. Bruce, you sent that today, you
Yeah,
said?
Mr. Gill, I don't recall receiving it, so I'll check. We need just to make sure that you've got the right.
I sent them.
Michelle?
Yeah.
Okay,
Okay.
she just, okay, that's fine. No, it's okay. That's all
I
right.
received
All
one.
right,
Okay.
you got it?
I received
Yeah, I
one.
got it too.
Okay. All right.
Jack McRail, 268 Sylvan Drive, Delaware. I just would like to make a couple of corrections to the study which has been submitted. And one of them is that the traffic measured and written in the document on page 12 states that the annual daily traffic is 17,000. And a scenario was developed on that, and you can read that for yourself. The actual traffic is 34,758, according to the Appendix A from Speedway. So this was don't believe it was an error, but not necessarily a misprint. So I wanted to correct the record, and so when you are deliberating on this particular study, that you look in Appendix A to find out the exact traffic. Based on that, the ultra-conservative growth of 1.7%, since other studies indicate that the growth, these are actual measurements, not estimates. The Mid-Ohio Regional Planning Commission suggests this area will be a 2% growth rate year by year. And if you measure the ODOT traffic study 2012, which was 32,000, I think 360, and then you subtract from 34,758, you do the math, and that's a 2.6% increase. So these are actual figures. So the other additional feature is that the planned development is listed as 2015, and so it's really going to be 2016. So we have an additional 2 years of growth, placing the numbers over 36,000. This needs to be considered, and that's why we're expressing concerns about the safety of that particular corner. One other minor thing, not necessarily minor, is that Planning Commission member questioned whether or not there would be an impact on the residential area. And the explanation was that no, there'll be no effect from Mr. Eflin because the lights and the noise will be dissipated in a 3-acre green space. That's not correct. If you look at Appendix B, you will see that the residential area will be caught by westbound trucks and by southbound trucks exiting, as well as the 360-degree turns in low gears with lots of noise and lots of lights. Thank you.
Thank you.
Madam Mayor, if I may respond to one thing. There
You're
was
opening
an,
up a can of worms. Go ahead.
there was an error that was corrected by Matt Weber at the Planning Commission with regards to that, that number.
Okay.
So that was handled at planning.
Okay.
Good evening, Susan McGrail, 268 Sylvan Drive, and also 151 Pennock Avenue. There were just a couple of things I wanted to point out. One, I wanted to thank Brian Witt and his colleague for making Speedway more like Turkey Hill on the other side of town. They've made a really nice impact. There are still some things that need to be done, but I'd like to acknowledge it. They've been nice to work with, both, you know, seeing them personally and doing our emails, so thank you. I have a concern about the traffic light. If this goes in with the trucks with the kids, if you sit there at that light and the trucks bust through, it's about 5 seconds that they come busting through a red light. I think that light needs to be retimed so that you don't have to personally count yourself. Those drivers are new. They're Buckeye Valley. They're going to close the joint vocational out on 5, whatever. It's going to be closed. Yeah. And so they're going to be back and forth, checking the BV back and forth. We got the Division of Motor Vehicles. All those kids are doing their safety training in our neighborhood, and those trucks bust through. So if we get them, there has to be safety measures. And as you said, safety, health, and welfare for our citizens. That's a real concern for us. And with that, I had sent you the DLZ report from Cambridge, Ohio. I think everybody has it. And there's a summary on that. When they allowed a station very similar to this off of 209, they had a rat's nest, and somebody saw all our articles and saw us on TV, and they sent me this. And it has a record to improve the site after they let it go in. It starts with a short-term, medium-term, and long-term phase, and that's 5 years, and the long-term phase improvements are intended for over 5 years. It is going to drain the city coffers of Cambridge. It has ruined 209, getting in and off the ramp, getting into the city. I've spoken to several council members in that area. My family were the founding family of Guernsey County. So I have an interest, and they knew I did, and I got the information. I would appreciate it if you would go through this and see the cost it's going to be to us to allow to have those trucks on our roads. Hills Miller. Anytime Mr. Lehner brings his truck down Hills Miller Road, he runs me off the road. And I know that part of it's city and part of it's county. I don't know how we're going to do that. He acknowledges that he does refuel at the one off of London Road all the time, but he really likes to have a good shot down Hills Miller to see our reaction. Okay, with that said, I don't know what we're going to do with Hills Miller. It just is too narrow to take the trucks. They are going to make a right, and they're going to head down to 203 or wherever. When they're not supposed to, they're going to do it. And I see Mr. Lehner make a left and go down that one that's road restricted for weight. So I just want you to consider the implications on this, read the DLZ study, and think about it. I want you to think about what we talk about, the safety, the health, and the welfare for our folks here. The Ohio Supreme Court got into it over Berea versus Speedway. They lost because they didn't have proof of health, safety, and welfare. I think we'll find that in Hills Miller 23 area when people start getting hurt, and when the health and welfare of people having the lights and the noise coming in constantly, as he said, kind of like the firework display. It is loud. And those stack pipes, Mr. Bomer has reported that. I've worked for Allied Vans. I know how loud and busy they are. I do understand what Speedway wants to do. I totally get it. It's a great location. They have given up some property, but they've made concessions to make it favorable for us to have. I get that. And similar to the Turkey Hill, but it's still the same. We need more improvements. And I think also that sound barrier as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Good evening.
Matt Ellinghausen, 184 Sylvan Drive. The one point that I
Did you know
want
his
to,
last name? I did not. I didn't get your
it's Ellinghausen.
Can you spell that, please? I'm sorry.
That's all good. I do it all the time. Ellinghausен. I waited until the end because I wanted to hear what everyone else had to say. Everyone had addressed traffic and traffic studies and safety, and these are all major points. The one point that I want to add to this is, and this is more of a question, I guess, for the plan. Have fleet sales been taken into account in the potential growth for this intersection? Because as much as I'd like to believe Speedway is entering this market simply for the existing traffic, by offering discounts to trucking companies all over the area, they're going to be increasing traffic in doing so. And I think that needs to be a major consideration because that will affect roadways heading to 23, heading to Hills Miller location.
Okay.
If that can be added to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else that would like to speak at this time? Don't rush her.
Okay. Sit in front. Oh, I gotta sit. Maybe safer. Why? Okay. In front of you. Judy Falter, and I 353 Stone Oak Drive in Delaware. My question was, a couple meetings ago on the Planning Commission, they added Amendment 20 that is going to allow these trucks to sit there for an hour. Previously, they had said there would be no parking spaces for trucks. There'd be 34 parking spaces for vehicles. Now, all of you have been at a convenience place where you've gone in and come out and you can't move because a truck has decided to park. And a semi will block visual for leaving and even exiting, coming into parking as it is. So where, if they're not going to have any parking spaces for trucks, are they going to be allowed to sit for an hour? And more than one truck sitting is going to block the flow of traffic. And that's all I wanted to know.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. Move on to, well, our next meeting is October 27th. right?
Yeah, the 27th.
27th.
26th, yeah.
That's close. Just to let you all know. And it will be on that night's agenda also. And hopefully we'll have some of these questions answered for you. And we'll move on to item 15, which is the city manager's report.
Just a couple of items. Carolyn and I have a meeting with Sean and officials from the county later this week to discuss the entrepreneurial center and just chat with them about a possible collaboration. We also have, I have a meeting later this week with Bill and his team and the Ohio Rail Commission. This is to start a dialogue with them with respect to the Norfolk Southern Railroad in the Point Crossing. We want to try to just get as much information about that that project to them and get their feedback. That will be hopefully information that we'll use as we move forward with trying to come up with some approaches to to addressing the problems at that intersection there. So that's really the extent of my update. I know the Community Foundation has a dinner on Wednesday night, and so I'll be attending that. I don't know if anybody else will as well. So thank you.
Thank you. Council comments? Mr. Jones?
Two quick ones. I don't know if Bill can answer, but are we scheduled for a fall street sweep leaf?
There is not a fall street sweep.
This is the one we eliminated?
That's correct.
Okay. Stacy's not here, so I'll send a note, but there was my son had a soccer tournament this weekend. It was the DYA soccer tournament. Fields are really torn up. There's some big holes in a lot of the fields that kids were falling into, and surprised that an ankle didn't get, snapped, but we have to get those fixed. So
Okay.
I'll pass it on to Stacy. I said.
That's fine. No, we'll handle it. We'll follow it up.
That's
Was
all
it these fields?
It's
Mingo. Okay.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Particularly field 5.
Okay.
That's all.
Thank you. Mrs. Keller?
I have nothing, thanks.
Mr. DeGenova?
I have one on issue 3. The commissioners voted to make a stance on it and voted not to promote the marijuana issue that's on the ballot. And I didn't know whether council wanted to pursue it. I've had several calls from various boards and my own as that we as leaders should take a stance, either yay or nay, on issue 3. And I'll leave it up to my colleagues whether they want to do that or not in the form of a resolution.
Why, I guess? I don't understand what,
Well, do you want marijuana or you don't want marijuana?
that's not really what
Well,
the issue is asking.
I think the reason that the commissioners, I haven't spoken to any of the three of them about this issue, but I would assume that the reason that they took this up and passed a resolution is that one of the 10 constitutionally approved growing sites is actually in Delaware County. And I think that I would presume it was more of a land use concern for them than it was necessarily taking a position one way or the other on whether medical and or recreational marijuana should be legalized.
I didn't know how the rest of you felt. I know I am not for issue 3, and that's my stance on it. I think we should support the commissioners in it, even though it is in Delaware County. It's going to affect the people of Delaware City.
How do the rest of you feel? We don't normally take a stance on issues.
That's fine.
I'm not saying you can't, I'm just saying.
I'm just bringing it up. My feelings are I'm going to take a stance.
Anybody feeling differently? Or- Okay. Mr. Brush?
I've had a request from a constituent for the installation of some no parking from here to corner signage on Washington Street. And so, Tom, I wonder if you could have staff follow up with me and I can send the location.
Yeah.
It's essentially, there's an alley that is used to access some of the rear parking for a few homes on Lincoln, and the pulling out of the alley to turn onto Washington is problematic if there's someone parked right up against the alley.
Okay. Just send me the location. We'll follow it up.
That's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Schaefer?
Nothing. Thank you.
Mr. Halliday?
Nothing.
And I don't have anything either, so motion to adjourn at,
So moved.
okay, we adjourned at 7:46. Tony tomorrow.